Today on Crafty Brewers.
When we first came in, it had some chain link fence with barbed wire. I know it's not welcoming, but I was like, fencing's expensive. It's fine. We'd make a beer. We loved it. Everybody loved it. And we just move on.
You wouldn't go back?
We just move on. And everyone's like, why don't you do that again? We're like, we already did it, Our beers are named by the style. You just look up and say, okay, rye lager. Okay, I'm guessing it's a lager that has rye in it.
You make it almost idiot-proof. Welcome to Crafty Brewers Tales Behind Craft Beer, the podcast that will increase your enjoyment of craft beer and appreciation for the people who make it. We've traveled to the Humboldt Park neighborhood of Chicago to go from grain to glass with Matt Gallagher, co-founder and head brewer of Suncatcher Brewing. We're going to share the stories that make each brewer unique. I'm beer drinker and hellraiser Brian Noonan. All my opinions are strictly my own. Behind the camera is our executive producer, Cody Goff. Cody, why are you excited about this episode?
Well, I'm excited about learning about what makes beer fresh and why does it matter. How does beer taste different when you're using local hops and local malts? We're going to learn what's the difference between spring and winter barley, and you'll never believe how we react to their rye lager. Also, for anyone watching this brewery is called Suncatcher. It literally catches the sun. I'm not a lighting guy. So if you're watching at home and you're like, why does the lighting keep change? Why is the lighting really weird? It's because I have no idea what I'm doing. And the sun, the whole thing.
All the windows face west.
It literally catches the sun. Like, that's a real thing. Can we talk about that for a second?
Sure, we can talk about it with our guest, Matt Gallagher, who is the co-founder and the head brewer here. Is that what the name? Because, like I said, all the windows face west. Thank you for being here, by the way. Cody wants to get into an illumination conversation before we start talking about beer.
For sure. It's kind of unique in Chicago to have a building that faces west without a building right across the street from it.
True.
You get some good wide open vistas over here. So the sunsets are awesome over here. And, after a few iterations of sun-themed names, we settled on Suncatcher.
Suncatcher, very nice. Now, Suncatcher is one of the newer breweries on the Chicago scene, but you are not new to the beer scene in Chicago. You were a co-owner at Half Acre, and you still are involved with Half Acre. Mm-hmm. What made you decide that you needed a side project?
It's a good question. I think a friend of mine a few years ago was like, are you bored? Why are you doing this? It wasn't out of boredom, but it was a desire to, one, be able to work a little closer to home. I live 2 blocks away from where we're at. And to try to do something a little bit slower paced and be able to do it in a little more personal way. I mean, Half Acre is wonderful. It's, wonderful brewery. It's on a different scale, which requires a different set of, ways to think about it. Where this place here, if it's smaller, it can be a little bit more personal and give you a little more freedom to, take some chances on things that you really want to do, without the risk of, putting a beer out and, no one buying it and, you're in serious trouble.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of interesting things about Suncatcher. One of them is, speaking of the beers and people buying them, when people come into the tap room, usually you go to a place and the tap beer that they're making is in a keg, comes right out of the keg. Not so here at Suncatcher. What do you do, and what makes it so unique?
Yeah, it's the building is the total square footage of the building is under 2,000 square feet. So that includes the brewery, the bar, the bathrooms, the seating, everything. So it's a small space, and with small spaces come constraints. And I enjoy having the constraints. It kind of forces you to think through what you're doing, why you're doing it. It just fit for here. So we don't have a cold room at all here.
Oh, wow.
We have a kegerator. We have some back bar coolers. So all the beers are in serving tanks, which, are all cooled themselves. Freshness wins for beer.
Yeah.
No matter what, a fresh beer, people are going to enjoy fresh beer over a beer that's been sitting around for a while. So with serving tanks, specifically the serving tanks that we have here, are designed with freshness in mind. So, so they're not in the keg. It's, the more you move beer around, the more opportunity there is for the beer to change.
Okay.
You're pumping it around or you're pushing it around. It's, doesn't like that. Just wants to stay in one place.
Kind of like me, Cody.
Yeah.
Sit around in one spot.
Yeah. So the less you can move the beer around, the better for the beer. So this way, put the beer in the serving tanks, and the serving tanks we have here, they use what's called a bag liner. Okay. So it's a system that's a little bit more popular in Europe, especially in the Netherlands. So Heineken uses these. In Europe, where if you're a good Heineken account, they'll give you one of these. They'll show up with a tanker of Heineken out front of your bar.
Oh, wow.
Fill up the tank for you. They fill up the bag, so you don't have to clean the tanks. You use the bags. And the beauty of the bags is they maintain carbonation from start to finish. So as the beer level in the tank is changing, there's no headspace because you're using external pressure to push the beer out of the bag.
Okay. So is the bag then collapsing?
It's collapsing.
As it's
Exactly.
Going?
Yep, it's collapsing. So there's no headspace for the carbonation to change. So a lot of the things that we're doing here happen to be an intersection of things that I feel are either better for the beer or better for my lifestyle.
Okay. It's nice to be at that. That's a good intersection, I think.
Yeah. And then, profitability as well. So,
sure. Yeah.
The highest profit margin is selling the beer by the pint, versus trying to go through distribution channels. So it's, there's a few little quirky things that we do here, but, we feel they're best for the beer. They're best for the beer drinker, the experience here, with all of that in mind.
So this may be a dumb question, but that's my stock and trade, dumb questions. How would somebody know? And it's just the way you describe it. I'm like, well, this beer is going to be the freshest beer I've ever had. How do you know? How as a consumer, if I sit down here at Suncatcher and I have one of your beers, let's say your amber ale. Mm-hmm. Okay, there's amber ales I've had. I love amber ales. What other than your recipe? But how would I tell that yours is fresher than Brewery B?
That's a very good question. You can get into a lot of technical terms about it, but hopefully
we like technical terms.
Yeah, well, go into step back. We don't want to go that way.
All right, we won't go that way.
Hopefully just that first sip, it just gives you that wow moment. Like, okay, that tastes good. So you start there, like, okay, I enjoy that. But yeah, hopefully it just has a little bit more of a robust mouthfeel. The first sign of a beer going stale would be, it's typically through oxidation.
Okay.
And that's going to be picked up via the traditional off flavors that the way they're described is like wet paper, cardboard.
Yeah.
It just tastes kind of, it tastes stale.
Okay.
So hopefully when you're having a beer here, you don't get any of those flavors. In addition to the beer's not flat, it's not been sitting in the tank for so long that all the carbonation has gone into the headspace of the tank. So hopefully it's got a lively feel to it.
Okay. Are the lines shorter because you're just going right from the tanks that are basically behind the taps here?
Yeah.
So you don't have, I know that's a concern at most bars is keeping those lines clean, but you have a shorter distance, right?
It's a shorter distance. It still is what's considered a long draw system.
Okay.
So, whether you're going 3 feet or 300 feet, it's the same kind of, there's some nuances there. Where if you go to a lot of brewery tap rooms, you're going to have what's called a direct draw system. So you're going to have the kegs are in the cooler and then they go right through the wall and the taps are on the other side of the cooler. So that's also a great way to dispense beer.
Okay.
But here, the shorter the line, the better, again, for cost savings as well as keeps the beer fresh.
I read a quote of yours where you said that Suncatcher is aiming for lower alcohol beers in old world styles. I think you described, as pre-American craft beer realm, from the pre-American craft beer realm. What do those words mean?
Trying to think when I said that. The goals here are, lower ABV beers. I think it's, again, it's another, inflection point of where my interests are and where I think, the interests of a lot of the beer consumers now are.
It does seem to be that way, right?
You know, people are still seeking out 12%, 15% bourbon barrel aged stouts, but I think people are now realizing, well, one, these 7-8% beers don't make me feel so good the next day, and maybe I can only have one of them instead of maybe having 2 4% beers. And also when we're serving beer on site here, this isn't beer to consume at home. You're drinking on site. There's some social and health.
Sure. And you got to walk 2 blocks home.
I gotta get home. But yeah, and so yeah, low ABV beers, and then the way I kind of view what we're doing here is traditional. What this is crazy to even be talking about, like traditional American craft beer styles. It's like, how do we have a tradition when the whole industry has been around for 30 years, 40 years.
Yeah, not too long.
So it seems odd talking about traditional American craft beer. But if you think back, it's really of going back to the beers that I was inspired when I had my own discovery into craft beer and those styles that were being brewed in the 90s and early 2000s, and trying to, and they've kind of fallen out of favor because as craft beer just heated up and it just kind of kept growing and growing and growing. It was new things. And a lot of these styles.
Well, for example, which ones did you like that fell out of favor?
Well, you brought it up already, amber ale.
Okay.
You don't see a lot of breweries launching an amber ale that they're trying to sell in cans and on draft all over the country. But it's a style when you're at the pub.
Yes.
An amber ale tastes good at the pub. So again, that's an example of these beers are designed to be consumed on site in a pub environment. We're not trying to sell beer people are gonna grab off the shelf at the grocery store when it's in a sea of other beer.
Isn't that an easier way too to build a community? You're going to build, because if people want your beer, they've got to come here and sit and enjoy it and enjoy the outdoors area, and then they become regulars, right?
Exactly. And we've been open 4 months, and it's been so much fun to have regulars already. And a lot of regulars are neighbors, live close by. So it's great. It's again, trying to not recapture, but maybe kind of move the needle a little bit back to really the benefits of beer to me. And I think to a lot of people is the social aspect of it.
100%.
Consuming beer with other people. And when beer became very sought after and almost like a collector's item, people are holding on to this beer. They're drinking it at home. They're drinking it by themselves. They're commenting online. And there's a wonderful online community around beer that is incredible. But again, trying to foster that on-site beer enjoyment.
Yeah, Cody's been yelling at me because I would just sit at home in the dark drinking beer. And he's like, "You got to get out in the sunlight." So you mentioned when you had your discovery of craft beer. How did you get in? What was your discovery, and how did that lead down the path that you're on to end up here?
Yeah, well, I grew up in New Jersey, and there's a big Anheuser-Busch plant right at the Newark Airport in New Jersey. But for me, living in New Jersey as a teenager and a college student, there wasn't much of a beer culture in New Jersey. It was industrial American lagers was what my parents drank, what I saw people drinking, and then started to find there were craft breweries there at the time. It wasn't, it was a little bit more of a niche thing.
Okay.
But then I moved out to Colorado. So I had an older brother who lived out in Colorado, and that was like culture shock in all the best ways.
Yeah.
Of showing up in the Denver area, and I was living in Golden at the time.
Oh, okay.
It took me about a week before I realized every time I walked out of that building, I was going to graduate school there. You walk outside, you're like, what is that smell? So it took me about a week, and then I'm like, oh, there's a gigantic brewery like right there. So that's probably what I'm smelling.
Yeah. Oh man. So did you start brewing in Colorado? How did you end up not only owning Suncatcher but working at Half Acre and becoming a brewer?
Yeah, it was, I always people say, like, how'd you get into brewing? It was through drinking beer.
Okay, yeah.
and enjoying it as a consumer, and then going out to Colorado and seeing, like, it never struck me as being a career path.
Okay.
But it was like, wow, these breweries are really cool. this is a thing that people do. This is something that people make. You know, you think like, oh, the machines make all of this stuff.
Right.
So seeing the culture around beer in Colorado, and then moving to Chicago for a job and kind of like very quickly being like, man, where are all the breweries at? You know, and there were breweries here for sure. This was in 2003 when I moved to Chicago. So there was, you know, a great beer scene in Chicago, but maybe not nearly what was going on in the Front Range of Colorado in terms of the number of breweries that people could go to and visit, and you would see all their beers on tap. And in Chicago in the early 2000s, there was a lot of great beer, but it was almost like every bar had the same 8 beers. So there wasn't necessarily that variety. So after a few years of that, just decided to like, well, let's give it a shot. So really knowing nothing and just like, you know, having Charlie Papazian's homebrew book,
there you go,
know, and just trying to sort it out that way.
When you started drinking the craft beers in Colorado, were there some that really stuck out that you went, yeah, this is way different than what I was drinking in Jersey?
Yeah, it was, you know, certainly the breweries, Breckenridge, Avery, Left Hand Sawtooth, what was the Breckenridge Avalanche, the Avery beers, Odell beers. Okay. But I'm trying to think what were some of the Ellie's Brown from Avery.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm saying a lot.
That's all right. Listen, I don't know what happened to me at the beginning, but you start running those down. I'm like, man, that is a list of good breweries in Colorado. They weren't messing around out there.
Yeah, fantastic breweries. There was a smaller brewery called Oasis that we used to go to that has since closed. I think they had some tax issues that they were dealing with at the time. We used to go there a lot, but again, going back to beer culture, it was the Falling Rock Tap House in Denver.
Okay.
Which I'm pretty sure when I flew out there to visit, my brother picked me up and we immediately went there. And that was just like, whoa, this place is incredible. So unfortunately, it's no longer in business, but yeah, wonderful beer bar. Just, you know, their slogan, no crap on tap.
You gotta like that. All right, we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, you're gonna showcase one of your fine Suncatcher beers, and I've got a lot more questions for you. Matt Gallagher is my guest. He is the co-owner, co-founder of Suncatcher Brewing. He's also the brewer here at Suncatcher Brewery. Suncatcher Brewing is at 2849 Chicago Avenue in Chicago in the Humboldt Park neighborhood. Suncatcherbrewing.com. They've only been here 4 months, so get in early. Become a regular before everybody's a regular. You could be an early adopter. We'll be back after this.
Hey, Cody here from my editing suite, and I have a quick request for you, just a 60-second plug before we continue with today's episode. So, Crafty Brewers won a podcast award earlier this year. We were named Best Video Podcast in the 2025 Quill Podcast Awards, which you helped us get by voting for us, which was really cool. And we're up for another podcast award, and we'd love your help voting for us. So I'm going to put a QR code up on the screen, but you can go to podcastawards.com or scan that link in the QR code to go to a website to register to vote for us in 3 different categories: the categories of leisure, society and culture, and arts. And all you have to do is go to podcastawards.com, enter your name and email address. You'll get a quick confirmation link and go vote for us. I'll show you how to vote right now. So visit podcastawards.com. You can click on the button that says sign up to vote now. Once you get to the sign up to nominate page, just enter your first and last name and email and password, all that normal stuff. I promise they won't spam you with emails. And importantly, once you enter your email and password and confirm password, please check the box that says, please consider me as one of the listeners that will be randomly selected to vote on the final slate in August. This final slate of voting is what really helps podcasts win the award. There's some optional information below, although you need to name the biggest podcast influencer that you know of this year, and then click sign up. Then you get to the nominations page, and there are a ton of categories, but don't worry, we're only in a few. If you want, you can choose us for a People's Choice Award all the way at the top. Just scroll down to Crafty Brewers, Tales Behind Craft Beer. You can also find us in 3 other categories: arts, leisure, and society and culture. Voting in other categories is optional, and then just go down to Save Nominations
and click on it. Then just keep an eye on your email inbox that you used to register for the podcast awards. You may receive a message in August asking you to vote on the final slate of nominees. Hopefully, Crafty Brewers Tales Behind Craft Beer will be a finalist in at least one of those 3 categories, at which point you can vote on it and make our day. Recognition is all we have. We don't make money on the podcast. We just put a ton of time and effort into it, and hopefully you enjoy the show. So winning awards is a really great motivator to keep us going and creating cool stuff for you, whether you're following us on YouTube, watching our YouTube shorts, or following us on TikTok, which is also fun. Tell your kids. Get those Gen Z kids drinking alcohol, not THC seltzers. Not that there's anything wrong with those. Here's the rest of our conversation with Suncatcher. I hope you enjoy it, and join us again next month for a really fun episode with Ike and Oak. Cheers.
We are back at Suncatcher Brewing, which is at 2849 West Chicago Avenue in the Humboldt Park neighborhood of Chicago. If you want to go online, it's suncatcherbrewing.com. Matt Gallagher is the man behind Suncatcher. He makes the beer. He owns the place. He's the man behind Suncatcher. Before we get into the beer that we're going to sample here, I know what is in this beer is going to come up because you guys are really big on Midwestern malts and hops, that you try to source everything locally. What makes that different other than helping the local economy and helping local farmers? Do you notice different flavors from Midwestern crops as opposed to bringing in hops from the Pacific Northwest?
It's certainly different flavors, but I think it comes from a desire to, kind of just plug into the local ecosystem, and, work with small producers who are, working their butts off.
Yeah.
They're working really hard. They're following their passion. And for me, it's following the energy, following the passion. And again, being a small place, we can do this on a small scale, so we don't have to worry too much about having to source hundreds of thousands of pounds of malt or, tens of thousands of pounds of hops. We can go right to the folks who are close by and again, build those relationships. So this is, for us, it's really only the beginning. And I've had these relationships for years and years with a lot of hop growers. Okay. Maybe about 3 or 4 years with Sugar Creek, who is supplying the lion's share of our malt. So really excited to be able to go and visit with them a few times a year. What are you doing? What are you excited about? What challenges do you have? And be able to just kind of roll that into the beers and really help. I view my role here as being able to connect the raw material suppliers with the beer drinkers and be able to tell their story through the beers that we're making. So while it's a flavor thing for sure, but it's not like these are the best malts and hops that you're ever going to get. It's more about, hey, these are what are available to us close by. And we want to just tell their story.
And you made a good point that you are a smaller place. You don't need huge commercial amounts of these crops, so you can work with smaller suppliers.
Yeah, and then going back to selling the beer over the bar, we can also tolerate some higher prices because we're not selling beer based on a price that we have to hit the consumer.
Right.
We can we can be a little less cost conscious than you have to be when you're making larger volumes of beer.
That I would imagine that is the truth. Okay, so what have you decided we will sample here?
So this is the rye lager. This was been on tap for a little over a week, maybe going on 2 weeks. And again, this one really showcases the malt that we're getting from Sugar Creek, from Caleb, who, he's growing the barley, he's growing the rye, he's malting it. He's got his neighbors who have transitioned some of their crops to grow barley and rye and wheat for him as well. And the really cool thing that they're doing is when Caleb got into this, there's two typically two classifications of grains, specifically for barley. Yeah, winter barley and spring barley. Oh. So spring barley gets planted in the spring, and it grows throughout the spring and summer, and it's typically harvested at the end of the summer. Okay. And spring barley is mostly what's grown in the upper regions of the upper Great Plains, Minnesota, Dakotas, Western Canada, is mostly all spring barley. So Caleb's growing spring barley, and it's not working very well in Indiana.
Oh, really?
He's having trouble, so he switches over to winter barley. So winter barley gets planted in the fall. It germinates, it starts to grow, then it goes dormant. Okay. But it's created that root system in the fall. It's now also helping it's also acts as ground cover because it's still in the ground. It just goes dormant, and then it comes back to life in the spring, and it's harvested in June, typically mid-June, and then the farmers are able to then get a soy crop as well.
Oh,
so
wow, okay.
That's why he's been able to talk to some of his neighbors and say, hey, if you grow some winter barley for me, you're still going to get that soy crop. It's helping with soil erosion over the winter. So there's a lot of benefits to it.
Yeah.
So I'm getting a little deep into the.
No, we love when we love it. The listeners and the viewers like to, get our hands dirty. No pun intended.
I love it too.
You, Cody, you love it.
Quite frankly.
You would love it. What characteristics does rye bring to a beer?
Yeah, rye. I mean, typically when you have rye bread, you get that spiciness from the rye, but a lot of that is also the caraway seeds that are typically in rye bread. So, that took me in my early days of brewing with rye. I'm like, how come it tastes different than rye bread? And it's like, oh, yeah, well, there's no caraway seeds in here. But, going back to it, rye will give a little bit more of a spicy flavor.
Okay.
And it also helps with head retention. For me, I love brewing with rye. It's actually a pain in the butt to brew with because, it doesn't have a husk on it.
Oh.
So husk for lautering purposes in the brew house, rye is a pain in the butt. It gets real gummy and sticky. It slows everything down. It's a little bit harder to work with, but for me, it always adds a little bit extra dimension to the beer. And it's, again, when you're brewing lower ABV, somewhat, maybe simple is not the right word, but, or basic, but, very, very lighter beers, any way you can add complexity to it is going to help just make that beer a little bit more well-rounded. So,
yeah, it's very good. There's that, you do get that, I don't know if that's the rye, the kind of almost not bitter, but the kind of spice, a little bit of spice to it. And you do get the malt. It's really good.
I drink a lot of heavier barrel-aged stouts, and I don't like any of the rye ones. So actually when you said let's try a rye lager, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like this. I could drink 50 of these. It's really sessionable. It just feels like I could just stand around drinking this all day.
Well, that's great because the goal here is to be selling sessionable beers.
Yeah, but that rye character it's not off-putting to me at all. It's really well balanced, I think.
Do you find that people, when they hear certain words, kind of like Cody just said, they hear rye or they hear some other descriptor of a beer, maybe not one, you've been around beer a long time. There's different descriptors that people can automatically shut it off. And then how do you overcome that? If people come in and they sit down and they say, oh, what's this? What's the rye lager? Because I like lagers, but I'm not a rye bread guy.
Yeah. That's a great question. We have a beer on right now that is, and again, our beers are named by the style. Okay. So we don't have, names that then you have to get the beer name and then you have to figure out what style it is. You can just look up and say, okay, rye lager. Okay. I'm guessing it's a lager that has rye in it.
You make it almost idiot proof.
Exactly.
I want a lager. Oh, that's this one.
I can't order a Despacito.
Yeah.
It's a Despacito.
Exactly. I was illustrating the point.
Oh, we thought you were just being a Weisenheimer.
No, it was artistic.
Oh, okay. I got you.
You're welcome.
Can Matt finish answering that question, please?
Sure. Eventually. I look like a ghost. I moved the light, now I look like a ghost.
Yeah, because all you've illuminated is your nuts.
Haunting.
But we have
yes. Back to the how do you tell somebody? Yeah, you might like this.
Well, we have a beer on that's our lightest, most easy to drink beer. It's it's very popular beer because it's just the easygoing beer, and it's called bitter.
Oh yes,
which is a style of beer. Right. It's an English style of beer. And they're not very bitter at all. So the style is not really describing the beer appropriately. And we have a lot of people who don't order it because they're like, well, I don't want to have a bitter beer.
Yeah.
But then when you give them a taste, they say, oh, okay, I like that. I'll have 2 or 3 of those. Yeah. So it can be a challenge, I guess. And that's again where we can, we have an awesome staff. We have a small crew. They know all the beers inside and out, and they can quickly talk to people. They can go deep with folks if they want to go deep into where the raw materials came from, or they can very quickly assess, like, I think you're going to like this beer. Here's a taste.
Yeah.
And let me know what you think.
And it also must help that because of the size and the amount, there's not 40 different beers on tap. How many of your own beer do you usually keep on tap?
We have 6. So we have 6 serving tanks, so we
Okay.
can have 6 beers on at a time.
And then, but something different about Suncatcher, you have your 6 beers, but then you also have, Guinness, you've got Coors, and you've got some ciders. A lot of places will have cider or non-alcoholic drinks, which you have as well. Why the other kind of beer?
That's a great question. It's something that I just wanted to do immediately and didn't really think much of it.
Okay.
And I've talked to some other brewer friends like, oh, man, I never even thought about doing that. Because I think we view this place as a bar.
Yeah.
You know, again, it's a bar first, it's a brewery second.
Okay.
It's a bar that sells its own beer. And we have some limitations here on what we can sell. We can't sell wine. We don't have a full liquor license. We can only sell beer and cider, because in Illinois, cider is classified under beer.
Right.
So that's the one limitation, but it gives us a chance to sell beers of styles that I know I'm not going to make.
Okay.
So, and it also allows, we're always going to have a half acre tap anyway. So we always have a half acre beer on tap. We started out with Sierra Nevada Celebration on tap. That's, one of my all time favorite beers. If you talk to a lot of brewers, that's going to come up in their top 5, almost anyone. Everyone
What
loves
style is that?
It's an IPA, but they take the hops that just got harvested. So it's not a wet hop beer, but they call it a fresh hop beer. So it's the first bales of Centennial that are coming off of the hop farms. They make this very delicious, super piney, holiday reddish colored IPA. That's just fantastic beer. So that was fun. It's like, so it allows me to pick some beers that I really love.
Yeah.
And share them with our guests too.
Does it act too as I would imagine, kind of a gateway for, and it's hard to imagine that there's people who still haven't tried craft beer, but there are. There's people who drink a lot of Coors Light or Coors Banquet like you have up there. Mm-hmm. Now you've got them in here, and maybe they'll, maybe your staff will go, oh, you like this, try this, and then all of a sudden, hey, wait, I guess I like craft beer.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's the mindset as well. It's we want to be very approachable. Yeah. So we want people to, from the way the building is, we want to make sure people walking down the street don't see this place and say, that's not for me.
Right.
They say, oh, let me pop in there and see what's going on. And hopefully there's something that they can immediately identify with and they're not intimidated by, like, oh, I'll take a Coors, I'll take them a Dia Light. And then, like you said, you get them in here. If they come back, they're probably going to try what else we're serving.
Something else.
Yeah.
Well, I might as well try it. I'm here.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's the hope.
It's a unique location. You have residential on the north side. You have a lot of industrial on the south side. What made Humboldt Park and this building in particular the place that you decided was the place for Suncatcher?
I had kind of put a bit of a radius around our house.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true.
So there, again, going back to constraints, like I work well within constraints. Okay. So I was like, okay, well, the whole purpose here is to be close to home. I don't want to have to be getting in the car and driving to work. I want to be able to walk. So there was that initial constraint, or that kind of circle of looking for places. And then it would, walk by here all the time, would shop at Christy Weber next door. I've lived in the neighborhood since 2007 and never really noticed this building. This building is kind of odd because you just, no one sees it. It's been here, but
it's just like on the triangle.
It's just kind of here. So one day I was walking by and I kind of looked at it with a different perspective and I was like, this could be it.
It used to be a service station, right?
Yes.
Because you have the garage doors over at the brew house. You can, you mentioned it's really cool inside with the exposed brick and the wood. Was that a conscious design decision, or was it like, well, we want to get it open and we're going to leave the exposed brick because it's here?
Well, a little bit of both.
Okay.
Yeah, it's here and it looks great.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Exposed brick always looks good.
Yeah. It creates a great feeling. So that's, again, it was a little bit of both. It was like, we're not going to cover all this brick up.
No.
Cause it was already all exposed. So, actually we spent a lot of work chipping away some plaster and, the property owner, Sam, who owns the building, he cleaned up the whole interior was re-tuck pointed.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah. Cause he saw it too. He's like, this is a gorgeous building. We got to pay respect to it.
Yeah. It's really nice. And now you mentioned you only opened in November of 24. So you've been here a few months. Warm weather season is coming. And how much of this outdoor area was kind of here? It looks like it was all redone. Everything's new out there.
Exactly. Yeah. So when we first came in, it had some chain link fence with barbed wire.
That's not welcoming, man.
I know it's not welcoming, but I was like, fencing's expensive. It's fine. Like we're not going to deal with it. We're just going to leave it alone.
All right.
But
who talked sense into you?
Well, the fence taught sense into us. Like then as we started removing a lot of the debris and cutting back all the vegetation, the fence was in really bad shape where it wasn't really a fence anymore.
Yeah.
Anyone could come in and out as they please.
Well, it looks great. Explain to people who come, because you've mentioned a number of times, Suncatcher is a small place. You brew beer and it's a bar, but there's food very, very close. So close, in fact, that you decided to put a special gate on the,
exactly.
in the beer
Yeah.
garden.
Yeah. So we have a door directly to the taco shop, next door to us. So yeah, Haliciense, Jose and Blanca, they've been in business for 26, 27 years.
Wow. Nice.
So they've been here a long time. They know the neighborhood very well. So it's just wonderful to be able to dovetail into the existing business structure that's going on here. And we're not trying to compete with them or Lola's across the street. We just want to, just be a part of the community and, help support them. In addition to, them supporting us by keeping our customers fed, and
there you go.
Hopefully they have an extra beer.
How'd they react when you say, hey, we're going to put a gate in here so people can come right into your parking lot?
Oh, they're pumped.
I would imagine. It's nice. And you said they're so good they don't even have to work on the weekends.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Too shabby.
Yeah.
All right. Now we know you have said you work well under constraints. You have said that Suncatcher, you're making your beer to serve here. Do you ever because you come from a place that has wild distribution. Mm-hmm. Do you ever see your mindset, your constraints expanding, or do you want to, like, as you said, this is right in your home and it's your passion project. Do you ever see expansion?
Yeah, I think how I've been describing it is, unless we have to, but it's just not very set up for it. We don't have a lot of space. There's some distribution, constrictions as well.
Okay.
So you never say never.
There's something to be
it's not
said,
like,
though, for,
absolutely not. We're never doing that.
This is like your little clubhouse. Mm-hmm. There's something to be said for keeping that size, and that it's charming, it's approachable, it's your place. It's like, I would imagine it doesn't feel much like going to work, because you're walking over here and you got your own thing, and it's
exactly,
you're doing it your way.
It's very easy to go back and forth, be very fluid. And like you said, it's awesome when you need to, you need to do something for 10 minutes in the brewery. Like, I just got to check on something. Just zip right over rather than be like, I got to drive a half hour to get up to the brewery just to go and like check a temperature on a tank.
It's amazing. With 6 beers on tap, how often do you look to change them? Or is it, people will drink rye lager till the tank is empty, and by the time that tank's empty, we're going to have something new to put in it.
Mm-hmm. Still, like you said, we've been open for 4 months, so haven't really sorted out that rhythm yet.
Yeah.
And it's happening twice now where all the tanks are turning over at the same time.
Oh, wow.
So it's kind of like,
oops,
you do a lot of work, and then you don't have much to do, and then you have to do a lot of work again. But we'll see. Well, especially with the summer, we think we'll be going through the beer faster.
Yeah.
And we've already seen some styles are going to sell faster than others.
What is this? What does the neighborhood here seem to be drinking more of?
Well, the beer that's been flying is the San Diego Pale Ale.
Okay.
Has been selling really fast, and ironically, it's the strongest beer here. So maybe I need to question my business model.
Well, you'll see once the summer comes, that'll be a good indicator.
Yeah.
All right. Matt Gallagher has been my guest. He is the co-owner, the co-founder, the brewer here at Suncatcher Brewing, 2849 West Chicago Avenue in Chicago. Matt, are you ready for the Final Four? We asked every brewer the same 4 questions to wrap things up and let you off the hook.
All right.
Question number 1, and you can draw on all your beer experience, the hill you'll die on, a style that no matter how popular it gets, how much people may clamor for it, you just don't want to brew it.
Oh, that's a great question. I think the quick answer is Saison.
Oh, what makes Saison the one you don't like to brew?
Oh, because all the Saisons I've made are not good. I tried.
Okay.
I love drinking Saison. It's a completely different mindset from a brewing perspective, and I've tried my best. Made some very average, subpar Saisons, and there's plenty of brewers who do it way better than I do. So it's off the table.
Fair enough. Again, you know your constraints. You
Yeah.
can't make the Saisons. What about a beer that you brewed that was good but really popular, that people loved? You loved it. You thought you did it well, but for whatever reason, I don't know if we'll make that one again.
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know, because we always had this issue in the first 4 or 5 years at Half Acre where we'd make a beer, we loved it, everybody loved it, and we just move on.
Just you wouldn't go back?
We just move on, and everyone's like, "Why don't you do that again?" And we're like, we already did it,
Why repeat? It was
repeat?
Successful. Why repeat?
Exactly. So we've changed our mindset at Half Acre. If we like it and other people like it, maybe we should make it again.
I was going to say, imagine only making Days of Cutter once.
Yeah, exactly.
Why
Yeah,
are you making it anymore?
We'd be a different company.
We did it.
But that's a good question. I don't know if I have an answer for that, because I think maybe the answer is I will make it again.
There you go. Perfect. What's your go-to off-the-clock beer? Could be yours. Could be something else.
Oh, it's probably, the go-to beer would be Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. Is kind of, it's the beer that no matter where you get it, you're at the airport, wherever you're at, it's going to taste good.
Yeah.
It always tastes fresh. They have a top-notch quality department there that, they do everything the best that can be done in the beer world, and that beer is fantastic.
They're one of the OGs too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, and the final question, your favorite beer and food pairing?
Ooh, good question. Again, I kind of like food and I like beer, and my brain doesn't work that way.
Okay.
But when it does, it's like Pilsner, Pilsner, Helles, Lager, and Sushi.
Oh,
would be the one where it clicks for me, where it's just like a real crisp, lager that's got some bitterness to it with some sushi. Oh, yeah.
Wait, so you don't find yourself naturally gravitating towards brewing beer to pair with tacos? Because that's where my head would be at.
Tacos and hot dogs.
Yeah.
That's across the street, Lola's.
I mean,
I think a crisp Pilsner would go with either tacos or hot dogs.
Yeah, I'm hoping all the beers go well with hot dogs and tacos here.
Yeah, I think so too. Listen, I've had a lot of all three of those things, and I've never had a beer or and a hot dog or a beer and a taco. Like, yeah, these don't go together. I'm not feeling it. That's it. More commentary from the Peanut Gallery?
done.
All right. Well, that's it. That's it. Thank you, Matt, for being here. It was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed yourself.
Yeah, thanks we're happy to have you here.
Commuted all the way to the brewery, all the way here from home on your day off.
Yeah. If he had lived another block away, we wouldn't have been able to do this.
It would have been another month.
I cannot do it. It is just geographically undesirable. Thankfully, we were in the circumference. But thank you also for listening and joining us on this edition of Crafty Brewers Tales Behind Craft Beer. Be sure to support your local brewery, because without your support, it's rough going for some of your favorite places. So make sure you are going to the breweries, you are buying their beer, you are tipping, you are taking care of the people who make the beer that you enjoy. Crafty Brewers Tales Behind Craft Beer is produced by award-winning podcast producer and man who likes this area very bright, Cody Goff. That's right. You can check out all the episodes and get in touch with us on our website, craftybrewerspod.com. And if you have a brewery that you would like us to visit, or if you're a brewer who, like Matt, lives very close and doesn't mind coming in and sitting with us for an hour or so, then by all means, drop us an email, craftybrewerspod@gmail.com. Leave a comment. YouTube loves comments. Thanks again to Matt Gallagher of Suncatcher Brewing for joining us. I'm Brian Noonan. Matt, cheers. Thanks for being here. Cody, any last words?
Yeah. Suncatcher? I hardly knew her. Got him!
Yeah, post that on the talk.
I'm not going to do that.
All right.
Did you cheers?
Yeah.
Do it again.
Cheers.
Cheers.